I'm here with my boys, Sanjay and Gabe. This is H10 Hanshin Tigers English News, and I am the main host, but certainly this show could not be made possible without you two. Thanks for joining me for the post show on episode 128.
Thanks for having us. Aloha.
Always a pleasure. And I have got to figure out my light situation, man. I look like a ghost.
That might be more than a light situation. That might be like get some sun. Anyways, but okay, so let's talk Tigers instead of talking ghosts. But I wonder though, is this team ghosting us? Is this a phantom, or is this a false start in a good way? Are we really as good as the 27, 12, and 2 record indicates? And I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm really excited that the Tigers have been in first place for the whole season. And this is the latest that they've been in first place since 2017. And then also in 2015, we had first place until September, not the whole way, but this is, for me as a Tigers fan, this is just unusual, uncharted territory. What do you think, Sanjay? What's your take on this team so far?
This is deja vu all over again for me. It's feeling a lot like 1985. The whole team is just one. They're having fun. They're doing their thing, and it's got the same vibe. Just think the movie Major League. It's just like that.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Gabe, what do you think?
I'm a newer Tigers fan, so this is completely foreign to me. I'm used to the team being good enough to be like in A class. I haven't known a B class Tigers squad, but a pennant winner, like that's before I really got into NPB overall. And I don't want to say it's like the Cubs in 2016 or the Red Sox in 04, where, you break a curse and all of a sudden you're just another team instead of the most notable team in the league. But part of me wonders if we're getting greedy and or that we're not enjoying this enough, or I'm not enjoying this enough, because I'm worried that it'll just be amorphous like 1985.
So yeah, I guess you've only been a fan then since 2019, right? Because the 2018
Pretty
team
much.
finished in last place. But yeah, Yano's done a good job with this squad so far. And I think we do have to thank Kanemoto for a lot of the draft picks that he has brought in to this bunch. Because you look at our starting members, and like aside from Umeno and the non-Japanese, like all of these guys were either drafted by Kanemoto or by Yano. We've got a good, young, solid core. We haven't done what the Giants have, and that is to bring in everybody and their dog from other teams, trying to get all the shiny pieces. We're actually building our team right. We do have some really good talent.
How about a shout out to the scouting team then?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that they are definitely doing a good job. I think though, especially in NPB, and I could be wrong, I feel like whether or not a player becomes a star is a combination, of course, of the player's talent and the scouts that discover them, but it's also the coaching staffs, right? Because I mean, we've seen guys with tons of talent that just haven't panned out. And then you kind of wonder, well, did the player just not really have it in the first place? Were the scouts' eyes deceived, or did the coaches not manage to help develop the player, right? I mean, there's kind of that three-headed monster, and it all has to come together just right.
I think you're onto something also, given that there's fewer minor league levels to go through to get to NPB, and thus fewer coaches who can mold these young players. If you're in the majors, you could go through short rookie, short A plus, double A, triple A. Then you're in the majors. That's what, 6 or 7 coaching staffs? In NPB, you've got 2. So
right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I like what I've seen out of this Hanshin Tigers team, with us being 15 games over 500. And check it out. We have got a winning record so far against the Yomiuri Giants, which is highly unusual. I mean,
against every team, actually.
Yeah, against every team. Yeah. And just suffered our first loss at the hand of the Swallows last night. But we were, 5-0-1 up until then against them.
6-0. Yeah, 6-0, actually.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
What I saw on NPB.
Right. So my question though is this: have we kind of just fluked this, or are we actually for real? So one of the things I want to bring up is with the Giants. We have not faced Sugano, and not that he is, the man that he was back in 2019, but he still is a very, very good pitcher. And he has faced all the teams so far except for us. and we kind of have dodged that bullet. Robbie De La Rosa was out for this past series, and I think even for the one before, he's only pitched 5.2 innings for them, but he's due back. Have we faced Togo yet? I'm just going to look this up right now. We have not faced Togo yet either this season. So we have avoided their number 1 and their number 2 pitchers. How do you like that? CC Mercedes has still not played for them this season. He's another one that has success against us. So just looking at pitching alone, we've avoided those 3. And then on the hitting side of things, for the first series, they were without Maru and Wheeler. And for this past series, they were without Sakamoto. And so we've always faced this shorthanded Yomiuri Giants team. Do you think that after interleague, we are still going to have success against these Giants, or are we back to the reality of them owning us?
I think we'll still play them close. We've also armed up as well. Once we get Oyama back, once we get Takahashi back, we've got guys in the infirmary who can contribute out the chute too. And it's for that was game 9 of 25 on Sunday. We only play them 16 more times. Sugano and Togo can't start all 16 of them. No,
they can't. But they can start 2 in each series if things are lined up right or wrong, I guess, if you will. So it could be 10 out of the next 16, possibly. I doubt it, but it's possible that 10 of the next 16 are against them. I will say this, though. Togo is not having an outstanding season, so I don't fear him as much as I did last year. And dare I say that I told you so, but I really think he was overused last year as a 20-year-old, and especially in the playoffs where he was kind of abused. I mean, he pitched multiple innings in like 3 straight games, and I kind of think that's coming back to haunt him and the Giants. I don't mind that it haunts them at all.
Now we're back on the ghost thing.
I don't mind, sorry. Oh, we can't even cut for this. Okay. Let's move on though. I want to talk about the Dragons, and we are not doing particularly well against them. We're not doing too badly, but it could be a lot better. We've only faced Yudai Ono once, and he owned us in that game. And then the other one that we have not faced for them, and that would be Yuya Yanagi, who is leading the Central in strikeouts, and I believe has a pretty good, 1.83 ERA. Oh, sorry, we have faced him once, and he beat us. So in those 2 games, we have been absolutely owned by them. Do you think that we can continue to perform well against them, or do you think that that is going to either even out or go in their favor?
How many more games do we have at Vantolin Dome?
That is definitely the question, right? I mean, I think we've only played 1 series there so far. We played them at
about right. Yeah.
We played them at Vantolin, and we played them at Koshien, 3 each, I believe.
Yeah, for the 8 games that we've played against them. Like Sanjay's point, that stadium just seems to suck the life out of the squad. But I mean, yes, we can. We it's going to be tough going up against Yanagi and Ono, but they still have a collection of noodle bats. Who's going to score against our guys for them? I think it'll even out, but I still feeling bullish about the Tigers' chances against Chunichi.
Our next series against them is the next 2 series against them, one in June and one in August, take place at Vantolin Dome.
The Road of Doom. Fantastic.
Yeah. And then we've got 1 more series against them. So a total of 9 more games at Vantolin Dome against them. Yeah. The Swallows, as I said, we were 6-0-1 against them, I think, or was it 6-0-1? And then we lost yesterday. So 6-1-1 against them. Typically, we've underperformed against them in years past. And what do you think? Do we continue to just absolutely pistol whip them, or do you think that they are going to fight back against us? They're one of those mystery teams, at least to me, man. They tend to have these really uncharacteristically good seasons like they did in 2018 and 2015. But then they also, they've had some other seasons in which they started quite well. Like even last year, they had a day in first place last year.
Was that,
believe it or not,
was it that year or the year prior where they had the 17-game losing streak?
I think it was the year prior. 2019 was their historically bad year, but 2020 they spent a day in first, and so I think their fans had a bit of hope at one point in the season, and then that crumbled. And I can't help but wonder, is Interleague going to give them the momentum they need to have another one of these anomaly seasons, or is it going to send them spiraling? Because I don't feel like they really have the talent that their record indicates.
I think that they're sort of a momentum team, like you say, and if they catch fire, especially if their bats catch fire, then they're like party on, man. But I kind of doubt that going up against specific league pitching is going to give them the chance to catch fire. So I'm not really that worried about the Swallows at the moment.
I think that they're very top heavy in terms of talent. The floor is low, the ceiling is very high. So where Yamada and Murakami and Ogawa on the pitching side go, so go the Swallows. So it depends on how those guys continue to play, continue to develop, because Murakami is still what, a second or third year player. So
Fourth year, technically, yeah.
oh, okay. So
Like
I
22
think that
years old.
yeah, so that those would be, like if those players can continue to grow and to perform at least up to in Yamada's case, up to their expectations and certainly their salary, then they will play. I don't think that they will end up at like a 12-3 or something like that deficit in terms of the season series. I think they're going to play us a little bit closer than what their record has shown to date.
So not that I want to jump too far ahead into the whole season, but I kind of wonder, like, okay, what is I don't want to use the term magic number, but in a sense, like, how many wins do we need in order to ensure ourselves dependent? And this is going to be the interesting thing, I think, is that right now in the Central, it's really just us and the Giants. Let's face it. I mean, I really don't think any other team stands a chance. And so in seasons like that, where two teams are strong and four are weak, like, you'd want to say, well, 85 wins should be enough, but it might not be in this type of season. So I still feel like the Tigers need to keep the pedal to the metal and win the games that they can win. They need to continue their dominance against at least one team other than the Bay Stars. And I don't want to say that's a lock, but I do feel like us beating the Bay Stars soundly is a fairly safe expectation for us to have. The one thing I will say that I worry about with the Tigers, and that is the team's RISP, batting average with runners in scoring position, going to go down? Because let's face it, I mean, Umeno can't keep hitting 538 with runners in scoring position. It's just humanly impossible.
Why not? Of course he can. You
I
said
think
that about us playing 700 ball too. We're still doing it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Tell me that again in 100 days, 100 games. I'd love to see it. So I think the record in NPB is 406 with runners in scoring position over a whole season. That was by Hiromichi Ochiai. Hiromitsu, pardon me. But right now we've got Umino at 538, Marte's 375, Sato's 341. We'll skip Keen. I mean, he's 333, but he's not playing. San's 318. I would say that'll probably stay about the same, if not go up. Nakano's 313. And then even Itohara's got a 281, which is not bad. So we've got a lot of guys batting quite well with runners in scoring position. And that definitely accounts for a lot of our run production, which right now I think is it tops in the Central? We've got 188 runs, which is definitely tops in the Central. We've also played fewer games than three other teams. So we're doing quite well for ourselves as far as that goes. But do you think that our run production stays at this clip, or do you think that it drops off a little bit?
I say we stay at this clip.
I think you're right. You're touching on something, T-Ray, about unsustainability of certain figures, but maybe not at a 500 level. I think I wouldn't be surprised if all those guys equalize around the 330 level, but there may also be guys who are getting unlucky at the plate. Like one stat I can't seem to find just yet is batting average on balls in play, or BAPIP. So if your BAPIP is, down around the 200s or 250s, it means you're getting unlucky. The balls you put in play that should be hits aren't getting there. And if your BAPIP somewhere up at like 450 or 500, that's unsustainable. You're getting quite lucky. Yep. If we can find that, maybe we'd be able to get a sense of how much bat luck our team's been having. And so I think that it won't be like everyone decrease. I think it'll be sort of an ebb and flow within each player. So Umino may cool off, Rojas might heat up, that sort of thinking.
Right. No, you're right. And we see that perfectly in the 1-2 combination that we've had for much of the year. Chikamoto was ice cold at the start of the year and Itohara was red hot, and they've really flipped that manuscript right? I mean, Itohara is still batting 307, which is pretty healthy. But if you look at his last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he has not been good at all. On the other hand, Chikamoto is now batting 270. He is 14th in the Central in batting average, but he is on the rise. He's batting 391 this month so far. And so definitely where one guy goes up, the other goes down. And speaking of which, his RISP, Chikamoto's was 148 in April, is 556 in May. So he is getting it done when it matters. And it's definitely something that we need. And we talked about this in another post show, you guys. I think I said that Koji Chikamoto was going to lead the Central in batting average and he would win the Central League MVP, is what I said back then. And if I didn't say it then, I was thinking it and I'm saying it now. So it's on record right now. People will go back to this video in October and say, he was right. He's a prophet. What do you guys think? I still think the Tigers are going to win the pennant. I still predict them in first. If I had to do the prediction show all over again, I don't think I'd change a thing.
I would happily eat humble pie if the Tigers take first place. Call me a pessimist, but I will buy a proper jersey instead of the giveaway that I've been wearing all these post shows.
Sanjay, I know you're the optimist. I know you're going to say they're going to finish first, right?
You know we're going to finish first. And my vote for MVP is still going to be Umeno because the catcher pulls double duty all the time. And if he's hitting 500 plus and runners in scoring position, then, my goodness, just deify him already.
Yeah, no complaints.
We've had the depth, right? I was worried about Itohara, to be honest with you, because he was having a bad couple of weeks stretch over there because he was hitting 400 plus. All of a sudden, he's only 300. That means he's had a really bad couple weeks.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's hurt, right? So, but you got your wish. Nakano was batting in the 2-hole yesterday and playing second base, and Obata came up and ripped the triple, right? So, we've got the guys that step up when somebody goes down, and the level is still staying pretty darn high. And this is going to be sustained all the way into October.
I think we're going to start to see the merry-go-round in the rotation as well, especially with the imports, because I don't know. I mean, I talked about this with Zorni a couple times just in our private chats. I really feel like Nishi is hiding an injury. His last 2 or 3 starts have been awful, and his control has been the biggest. That's the barometer right there. I mean, this is a guy that typically walks 1, maybe 2 batters a game. He walked 5 yesterday, and I think he walked 4 in his start before that. So he really doesn't have what he had. And I kind of feel like it might be that he's trying to push through some hurts, and he's just not telling anybody. So my question then is, what is the rotation going to look like moving forward? Because Fujinami, that experiment did not go as planned. Takahashi has not come back yet. Nishi looks like he might be able to use a couple of weeks off to heal whatever is bugging him. And again, this is just speculation on my part. But then we do have
one Nishi for another. Why not?
It's possible. I mean, if Junya gets her done, and then we also have Oyakawa, who was drafted in the same year as Junya, who's looking pretty good. He's a lefty on the farm, and he's doing quite well as well. And then Yukiya Saito is another guy that's waiting to get a start up on the top squad. But we do have these 3 import starters that we don't have room for to stay in the rotation necessarily. And that's simply because of the import limitation rule, right? It's not that they're not good enough or that we don't want them there, but it's possible that Chen, Alcantara, and Gunkel just get rotated in and out to make sure that we're filling the 6-man rotation. It's just that there'll only be 2 of them or 1 of them up at any given time, but 2 of them per week. And that could help us to fill out that rotation and keep us afloat and strong for the rest of the season. But I mean, the signing of 8 imports in the off season didn't look very smart back then. It was like, okay, how are we going to find room for all of them? Now, all of a sudden, it looks like it was the right move. All right, guys. Well, I think we are going to call this one a wrap. It has been fun talking to you guys, as always, about the Tigers, and I look forward to doing it again in a couple of weeks' time. Hopefully, not hopefully, we will be back again with them in first place still, and we'll be able to talk a little bit more about this march towards the magical 2021 pennant. Thanks, guys, for joining. Thank you all for watching. Catch us next time. Subscribe and catch us on Patreon.
Take care, everyone.
Aloha.